Commander Zethvar stared at the detention cell's twisted metal door, his 4 eyes blinking in disbelief. The reinforced titanium barrier, designed to contain the most dangerous criminals in the hegemony, had been bent outward like paper. Claw marks scored the walls. No, not claw marks. Tool marks. Improvised tools. How? He whispered, his translator struggling with the emotional weight of the word. The human prisoner, Subject 4471 Marcus Chen, had been captured during the failed defense of Luna Colony. For 3 months he had sat quietly in his cell, reading the philosophical texts they'd provided, occasionally requesting materials for what he called hobby projects. The guards had laughed. What harm could a single human do with scrap metal and basic electronics? Zethvar now understood why his species' ancestors had feared the dark between stars. Day 1, Hour 6. Post-escape security chief Kralthon reviewed the footage for the 20th time. Chen had somehow fashioned a plasma cutter from a food dispenser's heating element, detention field regulators, and pieces of his own clothing. The human had worked with methodical patience, cutting through 17 layers of security during the guard's rest cycle. Sir? His aide trembled. He's accessed the maintenance tunnels. We've lost visual contact. Deploy hunter drones. Lock down all sectors. One human cannot. The lights went out. Emergency power flickered on, bathing the command center in crimson. Half their monitoring systems were offline. Kralthon's mandibles clicked nervously as he realized Chen hadn't just escaped. He had studied their entire security network during his imprisonment. The orbital defense platform Eternal Vigilance had gone silent 12 hours ago. Admiral Vextar dispatched 3 patrol ships to investigate, their crews confident in their superior numbers and firepower. None returned. Long-range sensors detected the platform's reactor signature moving, impossibly, toward the inner system. Chen had somehow commandeered a battle station designed for a crew of 800. Vextar's analysis team worked frantically, trying to understand how one primitive biped could operate such complex systems. They found their answer in the station's memory banks. Chen hadn't just operated the platform. He had reprogrammed it entirely, turning its maintenance drones into a coordinated workforce, its defensive subroutines into offensive hunting algorithms. The human had transformed a static fortress into a mobile weapon of war. Impossible, Vextar breathed. Our most advanced AI couldn't accomplish such integration. His tactical officer, a young Kethri named Sil Aaron, pulled up Chen's psychological profile. Sir, humans don't specialize like we do. Their military trains them in multiple disciplines. Chen was a combat engineer, pilot, systems analyst, and field commander. To them, such versatility is normal. Day 4. The hegemony's Third Fleet moved to intercept the rogue platform, 47 ships strong. They found Eternal Vigilance dark and apparently derelict near the gas giant Morveth Prime. It was a trap. Chen had spent 2 days converting the platform's mining drones into kinetic bombardment weapons, launching them at relativistic speeds. The fleet's shields, designed for energy weapons, offered no protection against chunks of refined metal traveling at 12% of light speed. 17 ships died in the first salvo. The survivors scattered only to discover Chen had anticipated their retreat vectors. He had reprogrammed the system's navigation buoys, turning them into improvised missile guidance systems. The human used the hegemony's own infrastructure against them, Captain Morden of the light cruiser. Swift Talon managed to transmit a final message before his ship was torn apart. He's not fighting like a human. He's fighting like something that understands exactly how we think. Day 6. Governor Plexnar stood in his reinforced bunker deep beneath the capital city of New Kethros, watching his civilization crumble through tactical displays. Chen hadn't just been destroying ships. He had been carefully targeting infrastructure. Power stations, communication relays, manufacturing centers. The human was methodically dismantling their ability to coordinate resistance. He's forcing us to fight on his terms, Plexnar's military advisor explained. Without our technological advantages, we're just targets. The bunker shuddered as something massive impacted the surface. Through the command center speakers came a sound that made every hegemony citizen's blood freeze. A human voice, speaking perfect Kethri. Governor Plexnar, I believe you have something that belongs to me. The tactical display showed Eternal Vigilance in low orbit, its weapons trained on the capital. Somehow, impossibly, Chen had turned their greatest defense into an extinction-level threat. I want every human prisoner released, every civilian colony restored, every act of aggression against my species answered for. The voice was calm, conversational, more terrifying than any battle cry. You have 6 hours. Day 7. The prisoner exchange occurred at dawn. 3,000 human civilians and military personnel walked across the designated neutral zone, while hegemony forces watched from behind hastily constructed barriers. Chen emerged last, no longer the quiet philosopher who had been their captive. He wore a makeshift uniform constructed from platform crew quarters, his eyes carrying the weight of calculated destruction. In one hand, he held a simple device, the detonator for the nuclear charges he'd placed throughout the system's critical infrastructure. Governor Plexnar approached under a flag of truce, his voice barely steady. How did one individual accomplish this? Chen studied him with those unsettling human eyes, forward-facing, predatory, patient. You made 2 mistakes, Governor. First, you assumed I was just a soldier. I'm human. We're all soldiers, engineers, survivors, and more all at once. The human gestured toward the departing transport ships. Second, you forgot why my species evolved to be this adaptable. We didn't conquer our homeworld through superior strength or technology. We did it by never, ever giving up. As the last human transport cleared the system's edge, Chen activated the detonator, not to destroy, to disable. Every military installation, every weapon production facility, every ship and space dock would take years to repair. The hegemony had learned what every predator species eventually discovers. Sometimes the prey bites back. And humans bite hardest when cornered. In the aftermath, xenobiologists would study the Chen incident for decades, trying to understand how human neural architecture allows for such versatility. They would conclude that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their numbers. It was their refusal to accept limitations. The hegemony never again took human prisoners. They were too dangerous to keep alive and too resourceful to keep caged.